Alright, better get this video done and uploaded before all the tornadoes hit, considering if my last video just uploaded in time. So yeah, I am working on yet again another project. And for my regular subscribers, you're probably already facepalming yourself thinking, damn it, Jack, why the hell can't you stick to one project and get it done all the way? Especially like my gigantic cruise ship project. Well, that's kind of one of the vicious curses about myself. It's like, I have so many ideas, so many envisionments and things going through my head that I just gotta build them before I forget them, and then I get sidetracked by other builds, and it's just like, it seems like anymore I always ever finish the exterior of ships and other projects rather than getting the interior done. With that out of the way, let's kind of talk about this little new project I've been working on for the past couple of days. And the title of the video should already kind of give you a pretty good idea as to what you're getting ready to look at. And this is kind of like a made-up project of mine of the Titanic being somewhat re-envisioned as a modernistic, superliner. And I kind of had like the envisionments of what the Titanic would look like as a modern vessel one day whenever I was just kind of scooting around work, driving a backhoe and all that stuff. And for me, one of the key re-envisionments that I had go across my mind before I revealed to you the rest of the ship was the bridge. Now, as most modern ocean liners and cruise ships nowadays have like a completely enclosed bridge with wraparound glass windscreens, I was kind of thinking, how the hell would I be able to do that, considering the fact that the bridge wings and the wheelhouse of the original Titanic itself were separate with open deck space between the wings and the wheelhouse. Well, like, this is kind of like one of the envisionments that I had that had to be perfect. I mean, this is the best that I could get it, and you can easily distinguish where the original wheelhouse and the bridge wings were located, and all it really is just like some bridge space that's been slapped in between there with, glass windows and stuff. And that's kind of one of the key things that I had to get done about the front of the superstructure. And another thing is, it is larger. It's bigger in scale compared to the original Titanic. Okay, let's not throw accents in here. Compared to the original Titanic, it is bigger, longer, wider, and actually has a few more additional decks compared to the original, because I had the original Titanic, like I was trying to replicate it over there in the distance, and that project was being worked on so many months ago. So as I cross-reference, I took that and tried to build it over to a modern ship. And another thing is, I have a little 1 to 400 scale plastic model of the Titanic sitting on top of one of my desktops. So I just kind of looked at the model and tried to, kind of replicate some key features of the original Titanic, like of course the promenade decks and the smokestacks, definitely the masts and a couple of other things. Because, with it being modernistic, there's going to be a couple of extras that are going to be added to the ship. And I don't know if I'm going to do an interior, because so far I've only planned on this just being like an exterior-only model that you just look at for the sake of what it is. And as far as, it's not going to be a direct replica to the original Titanic. There's going to be a lot of things missing, considering the fact that it's up-to-date and modernistic. I mean, of course, I've got like the glass dome between smokestacks 1 and 2 that indicate where the first class grand staircase would be. And there's going to be some kind of a staircase in there. I mean, it's going to share a lot of similarities to that of the original grand staircase. And I guess it's kind of like one of the sayings that's going to be a thing with this little exterior model, is that it's going to share some resemblance to that of the original Titanic. But as far as the ship itself, it's not like a direct replica, as I've reinstated so many times over. And as far as progress is concerned, I've only got about the first front half of the ship somewhat detailed. The stern is still yet to be in place, but then I've got the layout of the stern in place. And here's another key thing to kind of go along the lines of it being, a lot of things are going to be changed and stuff like that. And this kind of ties into along like my gigantic cruise ship, because kind of like in a little Minecraft community that I'm associated with, like, all of these ships that I've ever constructed are under my, hypothetical cruise line. And as some of you would know if you've seen my other videos about my gigantic cruise ship project, towards the stern, on the rear half of the ship, there's like a big garden area. So I guess as like a feature that's carried over amongst all of the multiple ships, a part of my cruise line, I was going to kind of implement like a little bit of a small little garden area on the back of this modernistic Titanic, though of course it kind of eliminates some, possibly some key features of that at the stern of the original Titanic. But then again, like I said, there's going to be some things missing that aren't going to be carried over. But the stern, yeah, the actual stern itself is going to be just about the same. I'm thinking about giving it 4 propellers instead of 3 for the sake of, hypothetical stats. Like since the ship has 4 engines instead of 3, has better speed, more efficiency, and stuff like that. But that's all just kind of hypothetical. And let's see here. I'm trying to think. Working from bow to stern, I mean the bow, like the actual structure of the bow is just about the same, except it's got a couple more extra cargo hatches, and the cranes are somewhat bigger, beefier, and a little bit more sophisticated in looks. But I still need to kind of do more detail to these cranes, because I feel like that. I mean, they look interesting enough, but they seem to be a bit bland, or I don't know what it is about them, but yeah, definitely the cranes, in my opinion, need a little bit of reworking, because I kind of used the same design, just kind of altered it a little bit for these individual cranes. And I mean, hell, for any diehard Titanic enthusiasts and fanatics, I mean, you can immediately look at this and know that there's some things about it that are all wrong, and it's not like the original Titanic, but it's not, really supposed to be an exact replica. It's just a modernistic re-envisionment of what the Titanic could look like in someone's eyes, as if it were a modern ocean liner. Or maybe I shouldn't say modern, but more up to date. I mean, it's not exactly, 2019, levels of modernistic, but you could probably say like early 2000s, maybe like, 1980s or 70s or something like that. And let's see, of course, one of the a noticeable extra on the front of the Titanic 2, I guess. It's got a little pool area, or a little sun deck out here on the bow, in front of the superstructure. Not a very good view, but primarily the only reason why you'd be in this area is just for the pool by itself. There'd be a couple of little dining tables, some long chairs, and stuff like that. I've pretty much got the entire exterior design of this little Titanic model of mine already envisioned. All I got to do is just build it. And I guess also along the side of the hull here, I did have 2 extra decks added, or maybe, no, it's only 1 extra, as far as like the hull and the superstructure go. But I was going to have 2 lines of balcony staterooms kind of going along the, kind of like the lower half, between the superstructure and the hull. There's going to be 2 levels of them, one up here, one down here. I mean, you can kind of see exactly where they're going to be. And as far as like the interior design goes, actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the actual door, because of where the hallways would go. So yeah, you would go through here, there'd be a door, and definitely does have a lot of similarities to that of a, kind of more of an up-to-date balcony stateroom on that of a cruise ship. But it definitely has like the old, kind of like the old, old school cozy kind of feel to it, but with a couple of like modern necessities. Like there is a television in here, which, wouldn't make any sense on the original Titanic. I got a full-size mattress. I mean, I'm thinking about having different floor plans and layouts for each individual, for some series of cabins. Like, maybe the bottom half ones might be double cabins and the top ones are singles. I don't know. But, it's just kind of like exterior only. But since the balcony staterooms are going to be visible to that of the naked eye when you're flying around it, I'm going to have the staterooms furnished and all that. And this would be like a little corner section where the bathroom would be located. Very cramped, not very special, sink, some kind of like cloth stand, toilet, storage, walk-in shower that you can't walk into. I mean, it's just like micro-scale detail. So as far as, the balcony staterooms are concerned, that's kind of like another key extra that gives it that modernistic look. The promenade decks are going to be just about the same as far as, looks and design is concerned. Number of lifeboats, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more than what the original Titanic had. And this was one thing I struggled with here, because trying to find like a lifeboat design that would appear to be modernistic, that would kind of fit along the sun deck line here. For some reason, anytime I tried to build a modern-styled lifeboat to slap on the sides of this thing, it just didn't look right. It just kind of killed the look and threw it all off, even though it's supposed to be a modernistic ocean liner. So I've come to terms with myself that if you're going to build an old, like a ship that looks like an old steamer, you really can't get away with building modern lifeboats. You kind of have to just kind of keep the old school rowboat styled lifeboats. And there's a mess up right here. There we go. So I just kind of figured, just keep the old school lifeboat looks, because that ultimately just kind of what gives a steamship like the appearance or like the physique that makes them very distinguishable amongst any kind of seafaring vessel. So yeah, as far as that's concerned, moving along the side of the superstructure here, there is like one extra deck, because usually on the original Titanic it only had sun deck and then the one level on the top of the superstructure here, where the bridge would have been on this level and a couple of other stuff. But I added one more for the sake of size and to give it a bit more of an altered modernistic appearance. This would be kind of like the sector where the grand staircase would be located, as I mentioned before. The four smokestacks, of course, going along the top here, with a couple of individual deck houses that are going to have some stuff in them. Now, this little area here is definitely different compared to the original Titanic, because this is kind of more of less like a, I don't know what the hell you would call it, but I mean, this would be kind of like an area where like maybe an outside band would be located. There'd be like a little bit of a dance floor. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to have like a checker. I mean, it's actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it solid deck. But yeah, this would be kind of like an area dedicated to dance shows, or bandstands, or maybe just like an overall sun deck. It's kind of like a multi-purpose spot right here. And of course, there's like a little bit of a bar and grill located under one of these smokestacks. And I've even kind of thought up some cheesy names that would kind of go with this little restaurant here. I guess you can call it like the smoked barbecue, or the smoked barbecue or something like that. Just something to kind of have like an ironic pun to go with the fact that it's located directly under one of the smokestacks or funnels, whatever the hell you want to call it. And hell, maybe one of the special meals or special foods that you can order through this restaurant. Something I had in mind was like the stacked burger, because you're under a smokestack. Very funny, very cheesy, very corny. Anyway, so I don't know. It's just kind of like one of the little funny attractions on board this ship. And also, probably the very, very key, very noticeable difference compared to that of the original Titanic are these little two port and starboard side, pulls up on the very top sun decks. And they're very small compared to, how big pulls can be on full-size cruise ships, but, it's just something to give it a bit of a modernistic look. It's kind of like one of the reoccurring themes of this overall project, as stuff that would be available on modern ocean liners just slapped on a ship that looks like the Titanic. And the two rear, or the turn and stern deck houses where the third and fourth funnel would be located are altered in appearance, or altered in shape and design as far as the original Titanic's concerned. So that's just about all I can really talk about as far as this little project is concerned, and I would imagine I'll be able to get this one done, considering that I only plan on doing the exterior of it, and that's just about it. Yeah, since the stern's not done, nothing fancy to show you there. And although, I guess if you want to kind of see my modernistic re-envisionment of the bridge, considering the fact that it's definitely modernized, going in here, let's see here, bridge wings, considering the fact that it's going to have somewhat, modern technology, there would be like bow thrusters and stuff like that. So this would be like where you'd have the controls for the docking and ports and bow thruster controls. And it does have the whole like outside and inside, or the exterior and crap. Yeah, this kind of comes to show you what I know about the Titanic as far as how much I know. The fact that, I do know that it had like an external wheelhouse and an internal wheelhouse, and kind of like the actual Titanic 2 ship that's being constructed in real life, how the outside bridge, I think, is supposed to be accessible to passengers, and it's going to have the original look, what the speed signals, whatever the hell they're called, and the helm with the steering wheel, stuff like that. It's a kind of a different design compared to what most people use. But I was kind of thinking, the outside one would hold a lot more heritage to that of the original Titanic, with, still having like the whole steam age, technology, but the inside one would be where like the sophisticated computer controls and stuff like that would be located. I didn't think that I ripped that off from the Titanic 2 project in real life, but now that I think about it, it does have a lot of similarities to that part. Now, the fact that it's got a completely enclosed bridge wing, that's something completely different. So, ultimately, yeah, this is kind of like one of my little side projects I've been working on, for a little bit. Because considering my little curse, whenever I get something going through my head, I just have to build it so I don't forget about it. And, for about 3 days, I've made, some pretty significant progress on this. Oh, and another thing. On top of the bridge here, I do have like a couple of like radio masts and antennas that are going to be going on here. And I also went as far as to put like the, I don't know if they're the Doppler domes or, yeah, Doppler radar, or if they're just straight up weather radar, but I've noticed that modern ocean liners and cruise ships have like these little domes, these balls that they have located on the top of the ship. And I know that there's some kind of like radar or Doppler or some kind of tracking system that they have located inside those, but I've never really took the time to figure out what exactly they are or what they're used for. I mean, I already know that there's some kind of radar, but I've never been able to figure out like what kind of radar. I mean, I would imagine one of you or the viewer is probably going to answer that golden question for me in the comments down below. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know if any of you have ever been going through YouTube looking for somebody that's tried to build the Titanic, modernistic, but I mean, I guess I may very well be the first, because I myself went looking on YouTube for people that have ever built a modern Titanic, but it seems like nobody has. So I think I may very well be the first to do this. So anyway, here you have it. This is kind of like my envisionment of what the Titanic would look like as a modernistic ocean liner. So, this is just about what I've been doing the past couple of days, Of course, I'm getting completely lost on all of my projects, the Traction City, the big cruise ship, the tripods, and all that stuff. I mean, for anybody's subscribers, or as I like to say, my regulars that tune into my channel every now and again, you will, of course, know all of my greatest projects. But for you, who may just be a random viewer that just stumbled upon this video, you may just check out my channel and just see about these other projects I've been talking about here. So, this kind of concludes my video for the night. Let's see. Well, there's no tornadoes knocking on my back door, so there's a plus. So, anyway, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. I'm not into YouTube for the money. I just do this for the sake of, sharing my creations and being inspiration for others. So, I've said it again. Damn it, I screwed that up again. I always screw it up now. I can't ever get my outro correct. Usually I'm supposed to say, I've said it before, and I shall say it again. You take care, have yourself a nice day, don't do anything stupid, or don't do anything I wouldn't do, and I'll see you next time. Whenever the hell that may be.